How's it going, everybody? It's December 7th, 2025, Sunday, and that means it is the Sunday after conference championship weekend. That's right. So what does that mean? That means today the playoff rankings came out, the official playoff 12 field. So let me start this off how I always do. Welcome to another edition of the Noah Livingston College Football Recap. Week 15 edition. It's our 15th one this year, guys. It's hard to believe. But we are here, and we're ready to go, aren't we? So we're first going to discuss some of the games that happened yesterday. Then we'll go ahead and get into the playoff rankings. I'll just do it all in one video, considering there weren't really a lot of games yesterday. The FCS playoffs are also going on right now, but I haven't really discussed the FCS much this year, so I'm not really going to talk about those. But one thing I will talk about in the FCS is a major upset, but we'll get to that. So let's go ahead and kick this thing off. We'll start with the Friday slate here. The Sun Belt Championship. The final here was 31-14, James Madison. James Madison advances to 12-1 on the year with that victory. Let's go ahead and crunch the numbers. Yards as a whole, James Madison 411 to Troy's 177. Passing yards, Troy had 203, James Madison had 93. Rushing yards, oh my goodness. This was the story of the game right here. James Madison had 318 rushing yards. Troy had -26. Oh my goodness. Well, there you go, Alabama. You had more rushing yards than Troy. Congratulations. Yeah, man, the Alabama teams just could not run the ball, could they? No, they couldn't. Unfreaking believable. Let's break the numbers player-wise. Alonzo Barnett for James Madison was 10 for 25, 40% completion percentage, 93 yards, a touchdown, interception. Wayne Knight, the leading rusher, 21 carries, 212 yards. He averaged 10.1 a carry. His longest was 73, and he had a touchdown. Wayne Knight was also the leading receiver. I would assume. Actually, no. James Madison had 1, 2, 3. They had 4 receivers with 2 receptions. The leading receiver would have been Braden Wislowski with 31 yards and a touchdown. Troy, on the other hand, Goose Crowder was 15 for 34, 44.1 completion percentage, 196 yards, and that's it. He was their leading rusher in the wrong direction, though. 8 carries for -27 yards. And then their other quarterback, Tucker Kilcrease. What the fuck? Who are the people that you're recruiting, Troy? What the hell is this shit? Tucker Kilcrease went 1 for 5, 20% completion percentage, 7 yards. And then he had 7 carries for -19 yards. So clearly Troy doesn't have an offensive line worth a shit, because Jesus Christ. But yeah, James Madison is your Sun Belt champion. Moving on to the Conference USA Championship, the final here was 19-15 Kennesaw State. After having an abysmal 2024, their first year in the FBS, Kennesaw State quickly rallies back to a 10-3 conference championship season. And they're likely to get a pretty good bowl bid. Jacksonville State falls to 8-5 on the other hand. Let's break the numbers here. So Kennesaw State had 318 yards as a whole. Jacksonville State had 306. Passing, Kennesaw State had 246 yards. Jacksonville State had 96. Rushing, Jacksonville State had 210. And Kennesaw State had 72. Wow, so the one Alabama team that was able to run the ball is Jacksonville State. Well, got that for you. Let's go individual stats here. Kennesaw State's Amari Odom had, let's see, he was 26 for 32, 81.2 completion percentage, 246 yards, and a touchdown. The leading rusher was Coleman Bennett. He had 17 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. And look at this. Amari Odom, -3 rushing yards. Another Alabama team. Oh, wait, sorry, Kennesaw State. Never mind. It's a Georgia team. Never mind. It's ironic, though, because Georgia held Alabama to -3 yards rushing. And then a Georgia quarterback, well, Kennesaw State, but they're located in Georgia, had a -3 total. That's kind of funny. Anyway, let's go to Jacksonville State's totals now. Caden Creel was 12 for 21, 57.1 completion percentage, 96 yards and an interception. Their leading rusher was also Caden Creel. He had 18 carries, 112 yards, and a touchdown. Running back Cam Cook had 19 carries, 78 yards, and a touchdown. And Kennesaw State is your Conference USA champion. Moving on to the American Athletic Championship. Well, shit. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and take the time to swallow this pill. Not only was I wrong about North Texas, the playoff committee actually did some smart shit today. So, I guess I'm going to go my bad. That's my bad on that one. I apologize to the playoff committee for, shitting on them about North Texas because they were right about Tulane, and they also made some smart decisions we'll discuss later in the video. But yeah, Tulane is your conference champion of the American Conference. That'll put both teams finishing 11-2. Let's crunch the numbers here. North Texas had 415 yards as a team. Tulane had 344. Passing, North Texas had 294. Tulane had 145. Rushing, Tulane had 199. North Texas had 121. Quarterback Jake Retzlaff. You guys remember him. BYU, that whole scandal or whatever the hell that was. Let's check out what he did. He was 13 for 22, 59.1 completion percentage, 145 yards. Running back Jamari McClure had 22 carries, 121 yards, and a touchdown. And then receiver Omari Hayes. Well, actually, no. Put the actual leading receiver at the fuck top, you dumb app. I don't even know how to say your name, so fuck you. I'm just not even going to talk about the wide receivers. Fuck them. Let's go to North Texas. Drew Mestamaker, 21 for 34. Okay, that's just fucked up, considering Tulane beat North Texas 34-21. Damn, he was 21 for 34. 61.8 completion percentage, 294 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Damn. Running back Ashton Gray, 8 carries, 47 yards, and a touchdown. So overall, Tulane dominated this game. It was not even ever a doubt. Early, Tulane led, but North Texas had the lead, but then Tulane just got out to a point where it was just not going to be a contest. North Texas led in like the early portions of the first quarter. Then Tulane just strung off a bunch of points, and from there it was just not even going to be a contest, like I said. So congrats to Tulane. They're the American champion at 11-2, and they did make the playoffs. We'll talk about them. Then finally, the Mountain West champion. The final here was 38-21, Boise State over UNLV. Once again, Boise State beat UNLV. Boise State finishes the year 9-4 after odd start losing to South Florida. But honestly, if you look at their schedule, all of their losses were to pretty solid teams this year. Boise State lost on the road to South Florida. They lost to Notre Dame on the road, and then they lost at home to Fresno State. Fresno State went 8-4. Then they lost at San Diego State. San Diego State went 9-3. And then they had that impressive conference championship win over UNLV. So Boise State wins the Mountain West. Let's break down the numbers here. Madison, or whatever the fuck your name is, okay? Fuck you. 17 for 31, 54.8 completion percentage, 289 yards, 3 touchdowns, and interception. And then running back, Dylan Riley, 21 attempts, 75 yards. His long was 9. Running back, Sire Gaines had a touchdown, and Madison or whatever the fuck. Probably it's Madsen. I just, whatever. He did have a touchdown as well. And then receiving, Chase Penry had 3 receptions for 96 yards. Wide receiver Cameron Bates also had a touchdown. So did Malik Sherrod, running back. He had a reception for a touchdown. And so did Dylan Riley. He also had a reception for a touchdown. So let's go to the UNLV side of things. Anthony Calandria? I would assume that's your name. Sorry if I butchered that. He was 18 for 38, 47.4 completion percentage, 225 yards, and a touchdown. And he was also the leading rusher with 12 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown. Leading wide receiver, yards-wise, was Day Reynolds, 39 yards. And then wide receiver Troy O'Mary had a touchdown. Scrappy's giving her input on that. So, yeah, overall, Boise State is your Mountain West champion. Even without Ashton Genty, Boise State still managed a pretty good year, and hopefully they get a good bowl bid. We'll see how that plays out. The playoff selection show also features bowl games being released, so we'll see that as the show progresses. But, yeah, that's your Friday recap. Well, let's go to what happened yesterday. We'll start with the Big 12 championship game. And, man, let me just tell you, Texas Tech never left this game in question. I would say the first 8 minutes of the first quarter, BYU looked like the better team. After that, it was Texas Tech the rest of the way. It was never a question or doubt who was going to win that game once the second quarter came around. Let's go ahead and crunch the numbers here. So, first and foremost, Texas Tech wins 34-7, outscoring. Keep in mind, Texas Tech and BYU faced off a few weeks prior. 34 points for Texas Tech in this one, 29 in the previous one. They beat BYU and held them to 7 points in both contests, which to me is surreal because you would think with BYU playing Texas Tech the first time, they would automatically have a better game plan going into that one. No, that was not the case at all. They were once again held to 7 points. Texas Tech beats BYU 34-7, and overall on the season, 63-14. Damn. And those are BYU's only losses. They beat everybody else by convincing fashion, except Utah and Arizona. But Utah and Arizona are pretty good teams. They did struggle against Colorado, but fuck Colorado. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at these numbers here. We'll start with Texas Tech. Morton, the quarterback, was 20 for 33, 60.6 completion percentage, 215 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Running back Jacoby Williams had 15 carries, 80 yards. And then running back Cameron Dickey had a touchdown. He had 18 carries, 72 yards. Leading wide receiver, Leading wide receiver for Texas Tech was Reggie Virgil, 86 yards on 8 receptions. And then wide receiver Corey Aiken probably had a Sports Center touchdown. It was absolutely wild. Had 2 touchdowns in that game. And then Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, probably their best player at 13 tackles, 4 solos, 9 assists. So, That's the Texas Tech side of things, player-wise. And then Mr. Bear for BYU was 16 for 27, 59.3 completion percentage, 115 yards, and 2 interceptions. He was a turnover machine yesterday. It's not even worth talking about the rest of the team's stats. We'll go ahead and just get into So what we're going to do is put it simple here. BYU was fucking dog shit yesterday. Texas Tech owned them on the stat sheet. Texas Tech players had way better fucking stats. And BYU did not. 34-7, 63-14 overall. It's point blank period and simple. I don't even know why I bothered reading the stats that I did. Texas Tech is your Big 12 champion. So, yeah, moving on. Western Michigan wins the MAC 23-13. Congratulations. No real point in talking about that in depth. SEC championship. The final here was 28-7 Georgia. This game was never in doubt. It was 14-0 at the half, Georgia, and until late, in the game in the fourth quarter, Alabama had no points. This game was never in doubt. Never in doubt. Yards-wise, Georgia as a whole, 297 versus Alabama's 209. Passing, Alabama had 212. Georgia had 156. Rushing, Georgia had 141. Alabama, -3 rushing yards. Not crazy numbers for Georgia, but when Alabama can't do a fucking thing and that's their worst performance of the year, it's not even close, dude. It doesn't matter how Georgia plays because they had that shit in the bag. They played worse than when they played against Florida State. Facts. That team looked worse than the Florida State Alabama team. It was bad. Let's take a look at Alabama's numbers here. Ty Simpson, 19 for 39, 48.7 completion percentage, 212 yards, touchdown, interception. Ty Simpson's a pretty good quarterback. He had -28 rushing yards, though, because Alabama's offensive line can't fucking block, and they can't block to save their fucking quarterback or block for their goddamn running backs. Soft-ass team. Bernard was the leading receiver with 62 yards and a touchdown. Georgia shut Isaiah Horton down. Let's take a look at Georgia's side here. Gunnar Stockton was 20 for 26, 76.9 completion percentage, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Running back Nate Frazier had 13 carries, 52 yards, and a touchdown. Let's see. Leading wide receiver for Georgia, Zachariah Branch had 53 yards on 5 receptions and a touchdown, as long with 17. So overall, Kirby Smart finally gets another win over Alabama in convincing fashion, probably even more convincing than the national championship game a few years ago. So congrats to the Dogs, to the SEC champions, Alabama. Fuck you, and fuck off. So yeah, moving on. Big Ten championship game. Holy shit, guys. If I told you that, so let me just put it to you this way. If I told you that statistically, on paper, one team in the Big Ten title game had 118 rushing yards and the other team had 58 rushing yards, and then time of possession, one team had 30 minutes and 13 seconds. The other team had it for 29:47. And overall, one team had 340 yards. The other team had 322. Basically what I'm saying is, one team had more time of possession and one team had more passing, but one team had more rushing, which is with any game. But biggest thing here, if I told you that in the Big Ten title game that a team missed a chip shot field goal to tie the game up in money time. Money time. What would you say? And if I told you that a certain team's defense got them to win, what would you say? Everything I just told you, you would assume Ohio State won. Everything I just told you. No, let's break it down for you. Yeah. Yards overall, Indiana 340, Ohio State 322. Passing, Ohio State 264, Indiana 222. Indiana rushing 118, Ohio State 58 fucking rushing yards. Wow. And Ohio State in the fourth quarter missed a 27 or 25, however long it was, fucking field goal. That gave Indiana the ball with about a little over 2 minutes left. All they needed was to get a few first downs. Ohio State didn't have any timeouts. Boom. They got the first downs, and that was the ball game. Indiana, for the first time, program history, is now the number one team in the country. They're now 13-0, and that was their first outright title since 1945. Unbelievable. Ohio State, once again, cannot win the Big Ten. They have not won the Big Ten in 6 fucking years. 6 years. Let's break the player numbers down here. Julian Sayin, 21 for 29, 72.4 completion percentage, 258 yards, a touchdown interception. Sayin had negative 29 rushing yards. There was a lot of people yesterday with, nowhere close to positive in the rushing category. A lot of people yesterday. Listen to Jeremiah Smith here, though. 8 receptions for 144 yards. No touchdowns. No touchdowns. But that's still pretty good. Sounds like Julian Sayin is probably on his way to New York with, good reason. Oh, look at this ball-fried piece of shit. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that ball-fried fucking goof. Fucking Kalen DeBoer. Anyway. I'd say Julian Sayin's on his way to New York. And then Indiana, Fernando Mendoza, after getting absolutely fucking shit-raped. But what was his name? What was his name? Caden Curry. Caden Curry, you can go fuck yourself. That was the dirtiest shit I have seen in a while, bro. 9 seconds into the fucking game, and Fernando Mendoza nearly goes out. Luckily, Alberto Mendoza's the backup, so you're still going to have to deal with a Mendoza. But, bitch, have some class, man. Salty piece of shit. Damn. Anyway, Fernando Mendoza, who is likely also going to New York, and honestly is my pick to win the Heisman, was 15 for 23, 65.2 completion percentage, 222 yards, a touchdown interception. Running back Kalon Black, 16 carries, 69 yards, as long as it was a 37-yarder. Leading wide receiver was Charlie Becker, 6 receptions, 126 yards. That's your Big Ten title game, guys. That's Indiana. Wow. They actually pulled it off. I'm proud of you guys. Good job, Indiana. Pat yourselves on the back. Finally, the ACC championship. After all that confusion, after everything, all that shit. Oh, Duke, whatever. You all know the situation with the ACC. Point blank period. Duke wins the ACC championship game 27-20. So the ACC didn't eliminate themselves from the playoffs, though. We'll talk about that. But, oh my fucking God. Duke is your ACC champion in football. In overtime, 27-20. I'm not even going to break down the numbers in that. But, do with that with what you... Oh, man, fuck you. Fuck you. You bum. You bitch. Bald fried goof. You have a fucking 6 head. Ugly ass. Anyway. So yeah, that's your games yesterday. Let's go ahead and talk about the playoff rankings because they have been released. Everybody. Here we go. So what we're going to do, I'll tell you the first 4 seeds, then I'll tell you everybody else. So, coming in at number 1, getting the first round bye, conference champion of the Big Ten, the Indiana Hoosiers, are set to play in the Rose Bowl January 1st at 4 p.m. Eastern Time against the winner of the game I'll tell you about in a second. The second seed will be the Big Ten championship game runner-ups, the Ohio State Buckeyes, the defending national champions. They will be playing December 31st at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time in the Cotton Bowl. The SEC champion Georgia Bulldogs will be playing in the Sugar Bowl January 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. They are the 3 seed. And finally, the 4 seed, the Big 12 champion Texas Tech Raiders will be playing, well, Red Raiders, but, fuck them. Anyway, they'll be playing in the Orange Bowl January 1st at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. That's your first 4 seeds. Let's go ahead and talk about the rest of them. So here's your first round playoff games. The 5 seed Oregon Ducks play host to the 12 seed James Madison Dukes December 20th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Oklahoma Sooners, 8 seed, play host to the 9 seed Alabama Crimson Tide, December 19th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The number 6 seed Ole Miss Rebels play host to the Tulane Green Wave, December 20th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And finally, the Texas A&M Aggies, which are the 7 seed, play host to the Miami Hurricanes. Yeah, that's right. You heard me right. The College Football Playoff Committee finally did something worth a damn. They finally got their heads out of their asses and put Miami over Notre Dame. Notre Dame is not in the fucking playoffs, and they should not be. Thank you, Playoff Committee. Yes, Texas A&M plays host to Miami, December 20th, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So, the winner of the Texas A&M Miami game plays Ohio State. The winner of the Ole Miss Tulane game plays Georgia. The winner of the Oklahoma Alabama game plays Indiana. And the winner of the Oregon James Madison game plays Texas Tech. There's your playoff field. They'll be announcing bowl games within the next, few hours. We'll see who's playing who, and I'll probably make another video about that. But yeah, I love this time of year. Honestly, there's a lot going through my head at once, so it's hard to get all of it out correctly because it's just so exciting. But College Football Playoff Committee, like I said, I apologize for the shit talk with the North Texas Tulane thing. You guys are right. I was wrong. But I do appreciate you guys putting Miami in over Notre Dame. That was the right decision. And as much as I would have loved to see Alabama go out, honestly, you leaving Bama in saved the conference championship games because a lot of people were starting to believe if Bama would have gotten out, they would probably take conference championship games away as a whole, simply because if Alabama wouldn't have been in that game yesterday, they would have been in, and that is true. So I can make that fair argument for Bama's case. But yeah, so I think the committee did a decent job. The Alabama thing's a little controversial, but given that they were already in before, I guess it's okay to leave them in. But since they did the Miami-Notre Dame thing, that's fine. Miami should be in. They beat Notre Dame, so they did the right thing. Seeds 1 through 8, you can't really argue that. So honestly, the playoff field's pretty set in stone in the correct way. The only thing I might have done is maybe make an argument for BYU, but Alabama being in, that's okay. So, yeah. So that's been the Week 15 edition of the Noah Livingston College Football Recap. And now it's playoff season. It's awesome. It's awesome. So, yeah. We got about another month and a half of college football. And then the season's over, unfortunately. We got NFL until, early to mid-February, when the Super Bowl concludes, and then NASCAR's back. So, but I'll be introducing new content to the channel once college football is over. So, yeah. The last thing I'd like to say here is congratulations to the Oakland Patriots. They won the TSSAA 6A Region Championship last night, 62-21 over the Ravenwood Raptors. I got a little emotional last night thinking about Nah and everything. So, Nah, I hope you're happy up there today. I'm sure you're happy about Kevin Creasy getting him another one, and that little get-back game against Ravenwood. So that's pretty cool. So congrats to Oakland. I posted some shorts throughout the day, night yesterday, and it seems like you guys enjoyed them, so that's cool. So, but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and head out of here. I'll probably make a few more videos, in regards to the playoffs and bowl games and whatnot. But yeah, guys, just be looking out for more content, and college football season's almost over with, but we got a little ways to go. But man, this is the time of year where shit gets real. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and head out here, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.